talking all things Petal Panther football. This is the Petal Panther Preview Show from El Mariachi Loco in Petal, Mississippi on SuperTalk Hattiesburg 97.3. Now, here's your host, the voice of the Petal Panthers, Mark Easley.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Petal Panther Preview Show on this Tuesday night. Coming to you, as always, live from El Mariachi Loco. El Mariachi Loco is a family-owned business offering an authentic Mexican and Cuban dining experience featuring traditional recipes. Visit them right here on Central Avenue in Petal. We'll be joined by head coach Marcus Boyles momentarily. This past Friday night, not the best of nights for the Panther fans. A 21-14 defeat at the hand of the Pearl Pirates as Pearl came on the road and got their second region win. Petal falls to 6-3 overall, 2-1 in the region. Pearl improved to 3-5 overall, and more importantly for them, 2-1 in the region. Pearl got the scoring started at the 7:52 mark of the first quarter. Made it 7-0. That's where we stood after the first quarter of play. Petal scored on the first play of the second quarter to tie it up on an 11-yard pass to Malcolm Fornerette from Caden Belton, and the point after by Sam Haydale made it 7 apiece. And then just over midway of the second quarter, 5:36 to be exact, Pearl regained the lead, 14-7. Petal answered back on a 5-yard Ashley Brown run at the 3:38 mark of the second quarter, and the point after again by Haydale was good to make it 14-all, and that's where we stood at the half. Coming out of the locker room in that third quarter, Pearl got the football, and they used 6 minutes and 35 seconds off the clock and scored a touchdown at the 5:25 mark of the third quarter, and the point after made it 21-14, and that would conclude the scoring for the night. So the last quarter and a half, no scoring taking place. The Panthers had an opportunity on their last drive as they were driving down the field, started their drive on the 13-yard line, did Petal. Had a 15-play drive that stalled out at the 19-yard line when Petal turned it over on downs, and then Pearl was able to take a knee to run out the clock. And that last drive, we'll get to that in a moment, Coach, but in general, the game, the energy, I don't think, it's easy to say as fans, as just onlookers that, you have those two big wins against Oak Grove, against Brandon on the road, and even though you say we don't need to have a letdown, we don't need to take a step backwards, you're dealing with these teenagers, and sometimes it's hard for them not to realize what they've done and maybe not be ready to play as they should be, and coaches can do their job, but when it goes out there on that field, those players have got to be ready to play, and it looked like we were not necessarily tired from the first two games, but hey, we've got past two really good opponents, and we got a team coming in here on paper that's the record's not good, but they were a good football team.
They were, and you're exactly right. I think we beat Brandon, beat Oak Grove on the road, and I think we're feeling pretty good about ourselves. And, I think, it was kind of a trap game for us, so to speak. We had homecoming that week, and when you look at the record, Pearl was 3-5, I believe, coming in, 2-5 coming in. And, kids, look at those records.
Yeah.
And we tried to tell them, hey, they're coming in here, they're 1-1, their backs are against the wall. They know that if they go 1-2, then they're in trouble. Yeah. And as far as the district goes, and they came in and took care of business.
Yeah. They were playing, I think, thought of the word desperate because, as you said, if they go 1-2, their playoff hopes are not very good. But if they can come on the road and get a win against a 2-0 team, then you're both 2-1 now. And technically they have the tiebreaker over us, but Petal's still in control of their own destiny as far as playoffs go. But a desperate team that has some talent, that's sometimes a very dangerous team.
Definitely. And they were – you're right. Their backs were against the wall, and they came out and took the fight to us. I think from the first quarter on, I think they were the aggressor of the football game, and we just we just didn't play very well. I mean, there's no excuses, but other than just call it what it is, we just did not play very well.
And you look at the numbers from the game, it's not necessarily that bad, but again, the time of possession may be the biggest factor on that because you've said a number of times, and it always boils down to winning the line of scrimmage on the offense or defense. If you win the line of scrimmage, your chances of winning the football game is really, really increased. And when you look at when you look at the time of possession from Friday night, they played a very deliberate style too. They took a lot of time off the clock between plays. They ran the football 47 times, threw it only 9 times. So they were controlling the clock, controlling the line of scrimmage. Petal's offense ran 45 plays. They ran 56 plays, but the time of possession is a huge disparity because of how they control the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and they did, like you said, they had not been like that the rest of the games. I mean, we knew they were going to be run heavy. But they huddled, and they had shown sometimes they would huddle. They huddled every play, and it seemed like they were waiting to about 25 seconds on the play clock before they sent the play in. And then they were breaking the huddle between 10 and 15 seconds and snapping it, 5 to 10 seconds left. And smart on their part. Yeah,
doing what they needed to do to shorten the game, give themselves a chance to win. And then when you look at their strong running back, who is the son of a player that you coached when you coached at Petal, Derek Alexander, he had 95 yards on 19 carries. He got banged up a little bit there in the at the end of the third quarter. Didn't carry the ball at all in the fourth quarter, but he did some damage for them against the Panthers. He had 2 of their touchdowns, I think it was. Didn't have all 3 of them. I know he had a receiving touchdown he did have all 3 of them. Had 2 rushing and 1 receiving. Boy, you should have had a talk with his daddy before the game. Said, "Hey, you remember me? Tell him take it easy on us."
I know it. He is his dad. When I coached his dad weighed 165 pounds.
Wow.
And his son Derek weighs 225 pounds. So a little difference there. But this kid is a really good football player. He ran hard.
Yeah.
He was always falling forward. And not only that, when he didn't have the ball, he did a good job of leading the other back.
Yeah, and that's one thing when I made mention during the broadcast that he's a junior too, and Chuck Robertson, my partner, said, "Oh, that means we got to tackle him again next year."
Yeah, we got to try to tackle him again next year. Yeah, we didn't tackle him this year.
Yeah, looking at the numbers from the game the other night, unofficial, Pearl had 16 first downs, Petal 14. They only threw it 9 times, as I said, 5 out of 9. They threw an interception and 76 yards through the air. Petal threw it more than usual because of the type of defense they were playing. 21 out of 33 with an interception for 204 yards was Caden Belton. They rushed the ball 47 times for 171 yards. We rushed it 12 times for 43. And I had to go back and look at my numbers again. And we had the exact same number of total yards, 247 yards each. They did not fumble. We fumbled once, didn't lose it. They had 6 penalties for 55. We had some costly penalties there toward the end of the game, too. 5 penalties for 60. And they punted twice. We did as well. Them for a 30-yard average, us for a 49-yard average. We averaged over nearly 5.5 yards per play. They averaged 4.4 per play. So, offensively wasn't that bad, but we just weren't on the field enough to really give our defense a rest and try to control some of the tempo of the game because – for the most part of the game, the offense over there watching.
Yeah, and it kind of started the first play. We, obviously the visiting team coach, he has his choice, and flipped the coin. He lost the coin toss, so I took the ball, thinking, okay, because I knew what kind of game it was going to be, and I said, okay, let's go. Well, they kind of pooch kicked it to our front line instead of fair catching it. They just let it fall. Pearl gets on it and steals the possession right there and goes down and scores. And to me, that kind of set the tone because you could tell when they scored, when they got that ball and then they scored, that just gave them a lot of energy and a lot of confidence right there.
And they were playing ahead. We were playing catch-up all night. Even though we were only down a touchdown, we would catch up, tie it. They'd score, we'd score, tie it. But when you're playing catch-up all night and they're playing leading – that's a different mentality altogether as well because hey, we're going to make that defense stop us, and we had trouble doing that all night long.
And then we do get a stop one time and try to block the punt and rough the punter. And again, it was just a deal where a young man was supposed to go inside the back guy, and he goes outside and runs into the kicker. And it was just when that happens, and this young man's a starter, when that happens, it lets you know that they're not mentally into the game. Because we made some errors on both sides of the ball and in the kicking game that we haven't made in a long time. Yeah. And that just lets you know they're not mentally into it. And that's what I told our kids. You got to be physically ready. You got to understand your assignment. You got to be able to do the assignment. And that happens on Monday through Thursday. But on Friday, it's a mental thing. You got to make sure your mind's right and ready to play. And I didn't think we were mentally ready to play because we didn't have a a bad week of practice. I mean, wasn't the greatest week, but it was good.
Yeah.
But we just didn't get mentally ready to play on Friday.
Yeah, that block punt or the roughing the kicker on an attempted block punt, the game was tied at 7 at that point. They went down and scored off of that renewed drive and took the lead 14-7 and never really recovered from it. But, again, an onside kick usually is not a little pooch kick like that.
Yeah.
And we made mention that you can fair catch that, and you have the right to catch it. But I guess just caught them by surprise or what have you. But, like I say, if you signal fair catch, they've got to let you catch it.
That's right.
But most of the time an onside kick hits the ground, try to get a big bounce. So, we can look at this game a lot of different ways. When you look at it the different ways, it's still a loss that we got to bounce back from.
It's still a loss. It's still a loss. And, it's a deal where each game you got to learn. There's always some good things. There's some bad things, some ugly things. Obviously, with this game, probably more bad and ugly than good. But you just got to learn from it. Like when we brought our kids in to watch film on Sunday, it was a deal where, we had about 7 plays on the film. And I said, guys, if we make one of these, we win the football game. We tie the game. Mm-hmm. We make 2 of them, we win the football game. If we make 3 of them, we win by 14 points, and everybody's thinking, we did good.
Yeah.
But we didn't make those plays.
Yep.
We had plenty of opportunities like the last drive.
Yeah.
We missed the slant.
Yep.
By a
Threw
foot.
it a little low.
A little low. Drew Steele probably could have caught it, but he didn't. And then on the 3rd down, Drew's foot is 6 inches out of bounds. Yep. His foot comes down, then he drags the other one 6 inches, and he's in bounds for a touchdown. And then the last play of the game, we have what we've got to get a little trick play, have it what we want, and he throws it flat, and the linebacker jumps up again a foot higher, touchdown.
Yep, and that's the 3 plays that really stuck out in our mind as well in the booth. You get that slant pass up a little higher, he catches in stride, he scores. Mm-hmm. If he can get that pass earlier to the far corner, just a split second sooner, he's not a half a foot out of bounds. And then that last one, I don't know if he rushed it, saw it's wide open and just sort of panicked a little bit, but threw it flat like you said.
Yeah, well, when you watch it from the end zone, the linebacker, he doesn't see the linebacker. He is behind a defensive lineman and an offensive lineman, and he doesn't see it. And when he throws it, the guy jumps.
Oh.
And so because I don't even see the guy in the end zone from the end zone copy.
Yeah.
But and so Caden just never saw the guy. You know. But there was other opportunities. If we catch the first kick, they don't score. If we don't rough the punter, they don't score. Yeah. And then there were some other opportunities we had to extend drives on offense or get off the field on defense that we didn't make.
You've said a few times in the past after games like this that we get what we deserve because we didn't play well enough to win it. Even though we could have made some plays to win it, as a whole, we didn't play well enough to deserve to win the football game. And sometimes that's what you get, what you deserve.
I told our kids after the game, when I brought them in, I said, guys, honestly, I wish we had won, but it would have been an injustice to Pearl for us to win that football game because they're outplayed us.
Yep. So that game this past Friday night, the defeat that gave the Panthers their first region loss at 2-1. 2 region games left, and as I said, leading into the show today, that Petal still controls their playoff destiny, can still win the division, can still host football games in playoffs, but we've got to take care of some business, and that will start this Friday night at Meridian on the road as the Panthers will go to Ray Stadium. We'll take a 2-minute break here from some of our sponsors, come back on the other side of this break as we will preview the Wildcats of Meridian High School and talk a little football, maybe even on the college level, some other things as well with head coach Marcus Boyles. Back after this with more of the Petal Panther Preview Show.
Back to the Petal Panther Preview Show from El Mariachi Loco in Petal, Mississippi on SuperTalk Hattiesburg 97.3.
Welcome back to the Petal Panther Preview Show, coming to you live from El Mariachi Loco. Always glad to be here on a Tuesday night as they treat us right. They've been sponsoring Petal Athletics for a number of years, and we appreciate them continuing to do so and stepping up as the host of the preview show here this football season. We're visiting with head coach Marcus Boyles. We talked about the game from this past Friday night against Pearl. Now going on the road with 2 region games remaining, one on the road, one at home, going to Ray Stadium, Meridian High School. And I've said it every time I see Meridian come onto the field. they'll look as good as any team that we will play on the hoof. They're going to be a team of athletes, team of size, a team that looks like, hey, you better have your A game. And when you're on the road, you got to have that for sure. And coming off a loss, we can't afford to stump our toe again.
Yeah, if we talked about in the first session, our backs are against the wall a little bit now. If we want to win the region, we've got to win this one.
Yeah.
I mean, if we lose this one, we will not win the region. So our backs are against the wall, and we just, as you said, we can't stump our toe. And Meridian is they're going to have athletes all over the field on both sides of the ball. They're going to have those blue uniforms on probably, and they got that blue turf, and they're going to look good.
And they look good, and they're going to be maybe hard to find on that Smurf turf, as I think that's what Boise State's turf is called. But
right.
That's a case where when you play in a team like that, if you have a breakdown or one miscue, you take a wrong angle on a ball carrier or a receiver, they can hurt you from everywhere on the field and take it the distance to score on you. So some big plays may be the difference in this game.
Yeah, and they play two different quarterbacks. One's a freshman, one's a sophomore. Both throw the ball well, but they both run the ball extremely well, and that always creates problems when the quarterback's a runner, because now you got an extra running back in the backfield.
Yeah.
And very athletic. Offensive line's going to be big. They like throwing the ball. They've got a 6'5" receiver on one side, and then another kid that started when I was up there as a sophomore. He's a slot receiver, and then they got an outside receiver. But just athletes all over the field. Their running back is Daniel Hill, that played there 2 years ago, that's over at Alabama. It's his little brother, so it's in his genes to be really, really good. And he's a 10th grader, and he's gonna be special like Daniel was.
Yeah, he was. I think Daniel was a senior 1 year at Meridian. So you're familiar with anybody that's familiar with high school football. Remember their dad, Demetrius Hill, and he's on staff there as well, right?
That's their dad.
Yeah, so has comes from good stock.
It does. It does, and just a great family. I mean, Demetrius Hill is a great guy. His wife works in the central office there with the school district. Great lady, and just a really, really good family. And I'm glad to see Daniel's doing good at Alabama, getting to more playing time. I know we're kind of getting off the subject of Meridian a little bit, but Daniel, good to see him. He's a great kid, and good to see him doing good at Alabama.
Yep. Every time I see him carry the ball when I'm watching Alabama, I think about where he came from and the type of player he was in high school, and he has the same characteristics. He can be a good one in college as well.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't realize is he weighed like 240 pounds in high school and won the 100-meter hurdle and 300-meter hurdle in the state. Yeah, in 7A. So it kind of tells you what kind of athlete he is.
Yeah, not bad. Now, when you're looking at Meridian's record, a lot like Pearl, they're 2-6 overall. They've beaten Columbus and they've beaten Neshoba Central. They've lost to Starkville, good team. Lost to Hattiesburg, good team. Lost to Pearl, and they led Pearl. If I'm not mistaken, they led them like 17-7, and then Pearl opened it up in the second half and won that game. They got doubled up by Oak Grove, and then lost this past Friday night against Northwest Rankin. So it's not like they've been playing the Sisters of the Poor either.
That's right.
And they're 2-6, and they're looking for their first region win, and they know they're got a team coming in that may be limping a little bit after last week, and emotionally, if nothing else, that they're going to try to have a big home win on their senior night.
Yeah, and there's a lot of pride, a lot of tradition at that stadium, as you mentioned on set, and we're going to get their best game. Yeah. I mean, there's no quitting those kids. I know that. They're not going to quit. They're not going to lay down, and we're going to earn this win.
Now, we were talking earlier off the air, and I mentioned the time of possession in the game for Friday night. This past Friday night's game reminded me a lot of the Columbia game, and when we went on the road and didn't play well over there. And I remember our talks after that game about it was sort of embarrassed. Players, coaches, everybody embarrassed. And I think that was the same feeling after this game. And we bounced back from the Columbia game, won 5 in a row, and the kids really got focused in. Is a chance again for them to do the same thing after this loss this past Friday night. Really focus in, finish this season strong, get ready for the playoffs, and hopefully hosting games all the way through the playoffs. So, have you seen that in the guys this week at practice?
I have. We've had a really good week of practice so far, and I think it refocused our kids. When you beat the top two teams that that's been the top 2 teams the last 5 years in our region. You beat them on the road, you get to feeling really good about yourself. And then you forget how you beat those teams. You forget, hey, we had great days of practice, we stacked days, and then we got ready to play on Friday. And, you're dealing with 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, and I think that's honestly what happened. And again, give Pearl credit because they came into our stadium and whipped us.
Yep, their game plan was good. Now we got to go on the road and get back on the winning track after winning 5 in a row. Get this, keep the losing streak at 1 as we get ready for a 7 o'clock kickoff Friday night against Meridian. Let's move over on to some other things here. We talked about a little college football while we're off the air. And, I don't think I say it won't trickle down into the high school ranks, but this college season has been sort of crazy from a coach's standpoint. With all the money that's involved in college football right now, you don't have the patience, I don't think, as you might have had with a coach because you have these big donors. You have all this NIL money. You go out and buy your team. You can't miss on some players you're trying to get. But, your thoughts on the college game the way it is right now?
I think, first of all, I do think the players deserve to be paid somewhat. I think it's there's got to be some regulations. And when you hear, Nick Saban talking, some other guys, they talk about the NFL model. And I think that's good because there's got to be some regulations. But I do think it's a big money. They deserve to get paid. I think personally, when you are signing coaches to a 10-year deal for $95 million, like Brian Kelly, I think that's outrageous.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's just outrageous. You're paying a guy 10 years for $95 million, and you don't know really how he's going to do at that state at that school. You know what?
What's the saying? The best job is to be a fired college football coach.
Exactly. I mean, these guys are, I think I saw today the ones that have been fired right now, their buyout's $180 million.
Yeah.
Last year, the total buyout was $117 million. We still have 2 months left to go in college season.
Yeah.
And that's what we're already at $180 million buyouts. They're not going to be the last guys fired.
Yeah.
But with the NIL, with the transfer portal, these college presidents and ADs are wanting to win right now. And, you still have to have the right roster.
Yeah.
And it's like Nick Saban said on game day, you still got to pay the right people. You can have a $20 million roster, but if you're not paying the right ones, then you're not very good.
Yeah, we're regulated by the we're on the radio, so you can't use the same terminology that he said
That's right.
he used on TV.
Yeah, okay. But, you heard that? Okay.
Yeah, but you can't miss on those.
And just like the guy at Penn State, James Franklin. It's like, I heard Nick Saban said, he was ranked number 1 coming into the season. He made it to the playoffs last year, and I think he made the playoffs the year before, and they fire him this year.
Yeah,
I don't. It's like we have no patience. It's a win now, and we used to talk about the boosters being like that. Well, now unfortunately, it's got to where the presidents and the ADs are like, we want to win right now. We're not going to build anything.
We all laughed about it when this happened, but it's so true. And it wasn't near as much money as it is now. But when Ed Orgeron got fired from LSU, in his press conference, or what he said after that, said, "You gonna pay me how much money? What time do you want me here, and which door you want me to go out of?"
That's right.
And hey, for that amount of money,
it just shows you when you have buyouts of $54 million, like Brian Kelly had. When you have those kind of buyouts, it just shows you how much money college athletics are making.
Yeah.
And, so when you start, all the players knew that because that's why the NIL got happened.
Yeah.
They knew that. I didn't realize it.
Yeah.
I just didn't understand that there was that kind of money in college athletics.
And my little pea brain I can't wrap my mind around how all this financial aspect of that works, but obviously it's there because schools are still fielding teams. They're still hiring coaches when they're paying their ex-coaches this many $1 million, so the money is there. And like I say, it's got to have some regulation. Let's talk about the in-state teams real quickly. Southern, what a year they're having, bowl eligible for the first time in forever.
Man, he came in and overhauled the roster with
NIL. He made some good decisions.
He did, and just brought some energy to that to Southern Miss, and good to see them. When Southern's doing good, it helps Hattiesburg.
Yeah.
It helps the economy. It helps everything in Hattiesburg, and I'm glad to see them doing really well. because that's a school right here in our back door.
And Mississippi State, even though they're not, you talk about making one of 6 or 7 plays for Petal. If Mississippi State makes a play here or play there, they've probably got 3 or 4 more wins in their column, and instead of having this losing streak of Southeastern Conference games.
Yeah, exactly right. But I mean, when you go back and look, I hate to say it, but how bad they were last year.
Oh yeah.
And I know the record is not great, but how they're close to being a really good team.
Yeah.
And if they could ever win one of these games, against Tennessee, then it's going to snowball and they're going to have a good team.
Yeah.
But they're doing a great job at Mississippi State, and people just need to be patient.
Yeah.
They don't realize how bad they were.
Yeah.
And
they've got a quarterback in waiting up there.
Yeah.
That's Kamario Taylor, is it?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And so I think Levy's going to turn that program around, and I think in a couple of years you're going to see them winning a bunch of football games.
Yep. And Ole Miss, of course, probably the cream of the crop right now.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. They've got the NIL figured out. They got that a couple of years ago. Coach Kiffin, Lane Kiffin, does a great job. He puts an exciting product on the field and is doing a great job. And you love his press conferences.
Yeah.
But he does. He puts an exciting offense, and that's what it's about. You got to have that exciting offense like Levy, like Ole Miss, to put people in the stands.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening. And Coach Kiffin is doing a great job. And, I know LSU's going to throw a lot of money at him, and I'm sure in Florida, and don't blame them, but hopefully he'll stick around and stay at Ole Miss.
Well, and hearing him talk, he has changed so much, I think, since his USC days, Tennessee days, that he's sort of figured things out, I think, life-wise, that he really likes Oxford for seeing his comments. And as he said either today or yesterday, he said, I've seen that other part of the chasing the money. Money's not the final answer. It's where can you be happy? Where can you be happy with your family and the community you're living in? And I think he really likes Oxford.
I think he does, and he's getting paid well. He is getting paid well. And this is the thing. I don't know the way I look at it. Okay, you're making. I don't know what he makes at Ole Miss, but you're making $7 million at Ole Miss, and they're gonna pay you $10 million at Florida. $7 million to live at Oxford.
Yeah,
I think you can buy groceries.
And in Oxford, you can win 9-10 games a year on a good year, and they'll elect you mayor.
Exactly.
If you win 7 or 8, that's a pretty good season. In Florida, LSU, you win 7 or 8 a year, you're gonna be collecting the unemployment check.
Brian Kelly's 5-3.
Yeah,
they got fired.
There you go. Well, football is an interesting sport at no matter what level you play it. Maybe that money will trickle down to you high school coaches.
Hey, we'll take it. All
right, we appreciate you joining us here at El Mariachi Loco and their sponsorship of the Petal Panther Preview Show. Again, kickoff this Friday night in Meridian, 7 o'clock. Our air time will be 6:30 on SuperTalk Hattiesburg 97.3. Join us on the air or in person. If not, come see us here next Tuesday night. Until then, this has been the Petal Panther Preview Show. We'll talk to you Friday night. Good night.